So this is the life cycle of a thread. So we can call this diagram a state transition diagram of a thread. So in this life cycle, that means, so whenever we say there is a multi-threaded programming concept, so thread is nothing but a part of a program. So it has its own execution path. So when we say thread is created or thread is working, okay, that means we can consider this diagram. Okay, so newborn thread. So that means creation of a thread. So when I say newborn thread, it is a creation of a thread either by using thread class or runnable interface. So there are two things to create a thread. One is class called as thread. Class name itself is thread. Another one is interface name. Interface name is runnable. Okay, next. So when we say thread is created, so it will be in newborn state. Okay. So when it is in newborn state, we should not say it is already started. So it is ready to start. Okay. And when I say when we start the thread, that means its execution. So we can say it will come into the runnable state. Okay. So runnable means ready to execute. Okay. And when I say running state, being executed, it means a thread is under process. It is executing. So if it is in runnable or running state, so we can call that as active thread. Okay. And when it is in running state, so we can make the thread to block. Block in the sense for time being stop working. So you can see a blocked thread. Blocked thread means it indicates idle thread. Idle means it will not do any work. Okay, not runnable. Okay. So how we can do is by using three concepts. That is generally in English also we come across like suspend means for time being not working. Sleep meaning also for time being not working. Okay. Then wait also. If I see in generally when we speak, if we tell wait for some time. So wait for some time means you should not do any work. So you should wait like that. So suspend, sleep, wait. Similarly, if I want to make the thread to again to start working, so we can say resume. So in English we have this meaning. Resume means so if it is stopped working, so we will make it to start working. That is called as resume. Okay, notify. So this is also notify means like for example, if I tell thread to wait, so opposite of that is notify. Notify means again it should start working. So from newborn state or from running state or from blocked state, we can move thread to the dead state. That means to stop working. Okay, finally it stops working. So it will not work. So from newborn to dead, from running to dead, from blocked to dead state. Okay. Next. So when we consider thread in newborn state, what all we can do? Okay. So when we create a thread object, the thread is born and is said to be newborn state. The thread is not yet scheduled for running at this state. We can do only one of the following things with it. That is, schedule it for running using start method. See, there is a method called as start in thread class or runnable interface. So it is present in Java class library itself. So by using this method, we can start the thread. Or we can say kill it using stop method. So killing means it will move to the dead state. So further you cannot resume or you cannot restart again and all. So if you want to restart, you should create a new thread. So we can stop the thread. So you can look at this diagram. So if you schedule, it moves to the runnable state below figure C. So from newborn to runnable, from newborn to dead state. Okay. If you attempt to use any other method at this stage, an exception will be thrown. So any other method means how we can consider. If you look at this complete diagram, any other method means from newborn directly. If you want to move to blocked, it is not possible. That means if you want to move to blocked state, so you have to use suspend, wait, or wait, suspend, sleep, or wait method. So which is not possible. Okay. So if it is in newborn, only you can use two methods: start and stop. That's all. Either start or stop. That's all. Okay. Next. So we'll see each states. So what exactly it is meant by runnable, running and all. See, the runnable state means the thread is ready for execution and is waiting for the availability of the processor. That is, the thread has joined the queue of threads that are waiting for execution. Okay. See, whenever we open multiple softwares in a computer, sometimes what happens, one software may, for time being, it may stop working or it will not start. So I think you people might have noticed that if we give multiple documents for printer, Okay, sometimes it will say it is in queue. So it is in queue means like it is not yet started, but it is ready to start, like that it is. Runnable state means it doesn't mean it is already started. That means it doesn't mean it is executing, it is ready to execute. So runnable state means the thread is ready for execution and is waiting for the availability of the processor. So whenever any software is working means processor will make the software to work. So only it will say availability of the processor. That is, the thread has joined the queues of thread that are waiting for execution. If all threads have equal priority, then they are given time slots for execution in round robin fashion. That is first come first serve manner. So in English also generally we say first come first serve. First come first serve means whoever comes first, for them we will serve. That means for them we will give the work, like that it is here also. So generally the meaning of queue is the same from English only we have to take. So queue means formation of line. So whoever comes first, for them, so we will give the work, like that here also. Okay. So if all threads have equal priority, then they are given time slots for execution in round robin fashion. See, round robin fashion means like round robin algorithm is there in operating system. So in engineering, there is subject called as operating system. So in that round robin algorithm is there, round robin fashion they will call. So here also we have to think about operating system also. The thread that handovers control joins the queue at the end and again waits for its turn. However, if we want a thread to submit control to another thread to equal priority before it turns comes, we can do so by using yield method as shown below. See, you look at this diagram. See what they're telling. When I say thread is in running state, okay. So when I say thread is in running state, you just look at this diagram. So running state means active thread. So when I say the thread is in running state means active thread. That means it is being executed. It is executing. Okay. From running state, we can move to blocked state. Okay. So when you move to the blocked state means it is not like terminated. It is not. It is the meaning of. It is not the meaning of dead state. So there is a lot of difference between dead state and blocked state. Dead state means completely stopped working. Again, it will not restart. But blocked state means again it may restart at any time. Okay, or priority basis. So on priority basis, it will restart. When it restarts, restart in the sense we will not call start method, but we can say it will come to the runnable state. Runnable state means ready to run, like that it is. Okay, so you look at this diagram. See, running thread is there, right? So when you say for running thread, if you use yield method, so what they're telling, however, if you want a thread to submit control to another thread to equal priority before it turns comes, we can do so by yield method as shown below. So here yield method means, see, from running state it will move to the runnable state. We should understand the key difference between running and runnable. Runnable state means ready to start working. Okay, ready to work. Running means already working. Okay, already it is in process. Runnable means ready to process. Running means already it is in process. So if there are many threads, if you use yield method, so submit or hand over control using yield method. If you use yield method, what happens? When it is in running state, it will come to the runnable state. Okay, when it is in running state, it will come to the runnable state. See, you just see the right side of the diagram. So 3 circles have drawn. The meaning of this is these 3 threads are in queue. So if you consider first thread, it will come to the running state. Second thread, it will come to the running state. Third thread, it will come to the running state. So if it is in not running state means you should consider it in runnable state. So runnable statement ready to come to the running state. So always whenever we consider runnable state, we should think like it is ready to come to the running state. Okay. From running state again, if you use yield method, it will join the queue. Which queue? Runnable threads queue. It will join. Okay. That means for time being, for some reason we can, or else if it has equal priority. See, they're telling. However, if you want a thread to submit control to another thread to equal priority before its turn comes, we can do so by using yield method as shown below. Sometimes what happens, if threads have equal priority, then how it will work? So which thread we should make to work? So that is done by here yield method. If you use yield method, it will move to the running threads queue. So one by one starts working. Next. So in programs, we use these methods. So I'll tell you. Relinquishing, that means submitting or handover control using yield method. So running means, running state means what we should try to understand. So till now we saw what is a runnable state, right? So running state. So running means the processor has given its time to the thread for execution. Okay. The thread runs until it relinquishes, that means handover on its own, or it is preempted, taken over by higher priority thread. A running thread may give up its control in one of the following situations. That means, see, whenever we say one thread is working, if at all, if it moves to the runnable state means for time it stops working, or it will hand over its control to the another thread which has equal priority. So it do in these situations it will happen. They are telling. Okay, that means say running. First of all, running thread means what? Running means the processor has given its time to the thread for its execution. For its execution means actually it starts working. Okay. Runnable means ready to work. Running means actually it starts working. Okay. The thread runs until it handover on its own, or it is taken over by higher priority. So it will be keep on working. Okay. Until and unless whenever it is by itself, it will hand over to another thread. That is its running state. It will hand over to the another thread, or it is taken over by the higher priority. Okay. So a running thread may give up its control in one of the following situations. So we will see what are those situations. It has been suspended using suspend method. See, whenever we use the suspend method, what happens? It will come to the blocked state. You just look at this diagram. Okay, in this diagram. So from running, whenever we use the suspend method, it will come to the blocked state. Okay. So if it is in blocked state means again it can start working. So blocked state means not dead state. Again it can start working. So that only they are telling. It has been suspended using suspend method. A suspended thread may can be resumed using resume method. Okay. So this approach is useful when we want to suspend a thread for some time due to certain reason, but not want to kill, give up control using stop. That means we will not kill it. That means we will not permanently stop it. Okay, we will not move to dead state, but for time being, we will suspend the thread. That means for time being, that part of the program stops working. Okay, that means program control stops working by using suspend method. So if you want to restart that, then you have to use resume method. You should not use start method. Start method is used only once. Resume method you have to use. Okay. Next, it has been made to sleep. We can put a thread to sleep for specified time using sleep of time, where time is in milliseconds. So one by using suspend method, another by using sleep method. So in this diagram, we know, see here. From this active thread, that is from running state, if I want to move to blocked state, I can use a suspend method or I can use a sleep method. Okay. So when I use sleep method, so we have to say some time here. So that time is in milliseconds. Okay. If I say 1000 milliseconds, that means for 1 second it will stop working. So in the previous program we saw how main thread stopped working. So for loop 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 it is displayed, right? After every 1 second it was displaying. Okay. Next. This means that the thread is out of the queue during this time period. The thread re-enters the runnable state as soon as the time period is elapsed. That means after so whenever we give a time, that is after 1 second, after 2 seconds, after 3 seconds. After that, again it comes to the runnable state. Okay, you just see here, this diagram. Okay, from running state, what we do, we will move to the suspended state. That means blocked state. So if you use suspend method or sleep method, what happens? It will move to the blocked state. So you see, arrow mark you see, from running it is coming to the suspended state. So suspended means for time being it is stopped working. And again, it will come to the runnable and running. See, whenever thread wants to come to running state, compulsory it has to pass this stage. That is runnable state. Runnable means ready to start. Running means started working, like that. Okay. So you can suspend it. And again, see, sleep of t means time. For example, if I say t value is 1000 means 1000 milliseconds means 1 second. So 1 second means like 1 second it will stop working. After 1 second, again it come to the runnable and again running like that. Okay, so that means whenever the time period is finished, again it come back to the runnable and running. Okay, so we need not do extra work there. If time period is finished, it will come to the runnable and running. So you just look at the arrow mark. Sleep of t means it will come to the suspended state. From suspended, it will move to the runnable. That means after time period is over, from runnable, it will go move to the running state. Okay. So it has been told to wait until some event occurs. This is done by using wait method. The thread can be scheduled to run again by using notify method. So one is sleep method and another one is wait method is there. Wait method. Okay. So whatever you say, whether sleep method or suspend method or wait method, it will come to the blocked state. That means for certain period it will stop. There will be some reason for that. Okay. You see now. So from running state, it will move to the suspended state. Again, if you use resume method, it will come to the runnable and running. Okay. So first it will come to the runnable state, then it will come to the running state. Running means started working. Runnable means ready to work, like that. We use wait method also. It will come to the waiting method. So we can say waiting list. Okay. And again, you have to use notify method. It will come to the runnable and run. Okay. So this is about how we can make the thread to stop work for certain period of time or for some reason. See here, they're telling it has been told to wait until some event occurs. This is done by using wait method. The thread can be scheduled to run again by using notify method. So this is the diagram. Okay. Next, blocked state. A thread is said to be blocked when it is prevented from entering into the runnable state and subsequently running state. See here, what they're telling, runnable state and subsequently running state means, see, whenever we say thread is in running state means, before that state, it will be in runnable. So from runnable only, it should go to the running state. So only they're telling a thread is said to be blocked when it is prevented from entering into the runnable state and subsequently running state. So runnable state and subsequently runnable means first it has to reach to runnable state and then running state. So runnable means ready to work, running means started working. Okay. So this happens when the thread is suspended, sleeping or waiting in order to satisfy certain requirements. A blocked thread is considered not runnable but not dead and therefore fully qualified to run again. See, so from this sentence what we can understand is a blocked thread is considered not runnable. Not runnable means for time being it has stopped working but not dead. So you should not consider it as dead state. Dead state means again you cannot reschedule, you cannot resume to start working. So finished, you have to create new thread. Same thread you cannot restart. Okay, you have to create new thread. And therefore fully qualified to run again. That means fully qualified to execute again. Okay. So correctly we have to understand the difference between blocked state and dead state. Okay. So now we will move to dead state. What is dead state? So every thread has a life cycle. A running thread ends its life when it has completed executing its run method. It is a natural death. However, we can kill it by sending a stop message to it at any state, thus causing a premature death to it. A thread can be killed as soon as it is born, or it is running, or even it is not runnable, blocked state. See, just look at the diagram here. In what situations we can make the thread to stop working? So immediately when it is born, when it is in running or runnable state, and when it is in blocked state. So in any state, you can make the thread to stop working. Okay. So when it is born, when it is in running or runnable, or when it is in blocked. You see stop arrow mark from newborn to dead, from running runnable to dead, from blocked to dead. So at any state, you can make this thread to stop working. But see here. So every thread has a life cycle. A running thread ends its life when it is completed executing its run method. See, so there is a method called run method while we use thread. So if run method is completed its working, that is called natural death. Natural death in the sense we will not use the stop method. Okay, if you use the stop method, it is not natural death. See here. So if the run method is completed, So thread by itself, it is going to dead state. We are not making thread to go to dead state. By itself, it is going to dead state. Like we say, lifespan of a human beings. So if some person dies at the age of 95, 100 and all, so we can say natural death. So without any disease. So just within 10 minutes if he dies, natural death it is. Okay. It is natural. However, we can kill it by sending the stop message to it at any state, thus causing a premature death. See, in the middle of age, sometimes we come across the news like murder and all. So that is, we can consider. So lifespan is not ended, but in between, the human being is dead. So that is premature death before lifespan is ended. So a thread can be killed as soon as it is born, or it is in running, or even when it is in blocked state. So if it is in newborn state, or if it is in running state, or if it is in blocked state, in all these three cases, we can kill the thread by using stop method. If you don't use stop method at all, by itself it will end, the thread will end its execution. Okay. Okay, so if you have any doubts still here, you can ask. Okay. So threads are implemented in the form of objects that contain a method called run. See, if you learn class and objects perfectly, in all the chapters we come across objects, methods, classes. Okay, objects, methods, classes. In this chapter, we can come across interfaces also. Okay, class concept will come across and interface concept will come across. You see, just see here. Threads are implemented in the form of objects that contain a method called run. So there is one method in the Java class library. So we can use that method. Okay, that means we can write our own code in that method, but method name should be same. Method name we should not change, or even. But inside that we can write any code. That means any valid Java code. Okay. The run method is the heart and soul of any thread. It makes up the entire body of a thread and is the only method in which the thread's behavior can be implemented. Okay. A typical run method looks like this. See here. So if I want to use run method, so this is how we have to use. That is public access specifier void keyword run method. Method name is run. So you should not change the method name run. You have to use method name run only. Statements for implementing thread. So here we have to write the Java valid Java statements. So whatever it is required, we can write it. Okay. It is not that method name is run only and code also it is fixed code. No, it is not fixed code. So we can write our own code, but valid Java statements. Okay. So method name you should keep it as it is, run only. Okay. The run method should be invoked by an object of the concerned thread. This can be achieved by creating a thread and initiating it with the help of another thread method called start. A new thread can be created in two ways. So whenever we want to call a run method, so there is a method called start. Start method will start the run method. Okay, start method will start the run method. So I will show you in the program. So a new thread can be created in two ways. So how we can create a thread? That in two ways. That is by creating a thread class. Okay, by converting a class to thread. These are the two methods. By creating a thread class, by converting a class to thread. So by creating a thread class means define a class that extends thread class and override its run method with the code required by the thread. See every concept we know here. Define a class means we have to write one class, our own class name, class my box, class box, like that. That extends thread. So extends means what? Inheritance concept. So extends thread means thread will become superclass. So thread class is already present in Java class library. It becomes the superclass, and whatever the class name we are using, that becomes the subclass. So when I say define a class, whatever the class name we are using, that becomes a subclass. Extends thread means thread becomes the superclass. Okay. And override its run method. So I said run method is already present in thread class of Java class library. Once again, we are writing the run method. And whatever the code is present in the thread class, that is Java class library, that code we will not use. We will write our own code. So only that will override its run method with the code required by the thread. Code required means we can write our own code. Okay. So this is the first method. So defining a class that extends thread class and overrides the run method with the code required by the thread. So we are writing our own class name, and if I say extends thread means thread becomes the super class. Whatever the class we have written, that becomes the subclass. And inside that, I'm writing the run method. In the run method, I can write my own code. Okay. But method name we should not change. It should be same run. Okay. By converting a class to thread. So define a class that implements runnable interface. See, there are two things, two keywords: extends keyword, implements keyword. So when I say extends keyword, in front of extends keyword, I should write class name. When I say implements keyword, in front of implements keyword, I have to use interface name. So runnable is an interface, that is, which is already present in Java. So one class called a thread, one interface called runnable. If you're using class thread, use the keyword extends. If you're using in runnable interface, you have to use the keyword implements. Okay. So define a class that implements runnable interface. The runnable interface has only one method, run, that is to be defined in the method with the code to be executed by the thread. So here also, once again, if you're using runnable interface, inside the class what we are writing, inside that we have to use the run method. Okay. So if you are using thread class also, you should use run method. If you are using runnable interface also, you should use run method. Okay. So the approach to be used, it depends on which class we are creating requires. If it requires extending another class, then we have to implement runnable interface. Since Java classes cannot have two superclasses. See, two superclasses means in case of C++, we have multiple inheritance. In Java, we don't have multiple inheritance. Okay. In interview, they may ask the question. So multiple inheritance is present in C++, but not in Java. Then how we can achieve that concept? Means by using interface concept. So only they have developed the concept called as interfaces. Since Java classes cannot have two superclasses, for one subclass, we cannot use two superclasses. That means class A extends B extends C, like that. Okay. So that is called multiple inheritance. In C++ it is available, but in Java it is not available. So we are using the concept called as runnable interface. So extending the thread class, first method we will use. So we can make our class runnable as thread by extending the class java.lang.thread. This gives us access to all thread methods directly. It includes the following step. So if I want to use first method, if I want to create a thread by using thread class, so how we can create? First step is declare a class as extending the thread class. So class A extends thread, like that. Okay, define a class, declare a class that as extending thread class. Implement the run method that is responsible for executing the sequence of code that the thread will execute. Create a thread object and call start method. See, everything is present here. Creating declaring the class. So step by step we will go. See here. Declaring the class my thread. See, my thread is our class name. By using identifier rules, we are writing the identifier. My thread is an identifier. So I can write my thread. So you should just use the identifier rules when you are writing class name. Extends thread. So this thread, this class name you should not change. You have to use exactly capital letter T, H, R, E, A, D, small letters. So you should not change. Even uppercase and lowercase also you should not change. And word also you should not change. T, H, R, E, A, D, T capital. Okay. Whereas in case of my thread, you can write anything. Just you have to follow the identifier rules. You can even write my underscore thread or M thread, like that. So whatever you want to write, but just follow the identifier rules. So this is how we create a class. Okay, and this class is now, we can say thread class. This class is thread class because I say class my thread extends thread. So thread becomes the super class, my thread becomes the subclass. Okay, and inside this we have to write the code. Okay. See, so after creating the class like this, so we have new type of thread called my thread. So new type means always type meaning data type. So whenever we write the class, class will give us the new type. Okay, class will give us the new type. That type name is my thread. Okay. See, when I say class my thread extends thread, if you look at this line, already one class is there by name thread, which is present in Java class library. Already one class is there by name thread. So that is the thread class. So one more thread class we are creating. That thread class name is my thread. Okay. So only they're telling we get a new type of thread, my thread. Okay. Implementing the run method. So implementing or overriding the run method means, so we have to write the run method. So the run method has been inherited by the class myThread. We have to override this method in order to implement the code to be executed by our thread. The basic implementation of run will look like this. So what we have to do after writing this class myThread extends thread. So this code, what we do, this code we have to write inside this class. That is nothing but implementing the run method. Separately they are given, but I'm explaining in this way. That is like this, you have to write. So this code, that is our own code, Java code, and here also we can write our own Java valid Java code. Okay, this is how we write the class. Okay, class myThread extends thread, some code we have to write, and public void inside it we have to write some code. So when we consider syntax or general form, so they have given separately like this. Okay, we have to write the code here. So thread code here. So we can write the code here. Okay. Next. So when we start a new thread, Java calls a thread's run method. So it is the run where all the action takes place. So I said like from newborn it will move to the running state. So if it wants to move to the running state means it should execute this run method. Okay, from newborn it will move to the running state. So if it wants to move to running state, it should execute run method. So if I want to make the run method to work, so I should start that thread. Okay, that was only they are telling when we start the new thread, Java calls the threads run method. Threads run method means this only. So this method it will start working. Okay. So it is the run where all the action takes place. Okay. So starting the new thread. So we should know how to start a new thread by using code. Theoretically, we came to know just by looking at the diagram. We came to know from newborn and we move to the running state. But practically, that means if I want to write a code to start a new thread, so this is how we create. We will start to actually create and run an instance of our thread class. We must write the following code. Okay. So that is here. My thread a thread is equals to new my thread. So if it is confusion, simply I write like this. AT means thread. Okay, or simply I say T. Okay. See here. So here. So my thread T is equals to new method. So this line creates the thread. This line creates the thread object. So thread dot start means it will start this thread. Okay. So because my thread, if you look at this class name, that class name we have created. So this is the class name what we have created. That means this is the class dot we have created. So thread class is already present in Java class library. So for this new class, what I am creating, my thread, for this new class, I should create an object. Okay, so how I should create an object means my thread object name T is equals to new. So always new keyword is used to create an object. New my thread constructor, default constructor. So my thread T is equals to new my thread. So when you create a new thread object and when you call the start method, so thread dot start. Thread is a class name which is already present in Java class library. Thread dot start method. See when you write this statement, what happens? So this line makes run method to work. So this is interesting here because whenever we call any method, that method should work, right? But here in case of thread, what happens? When this line is executed, this method will work. So that only they're telling. See, just you look at this sentence. When we start a new thread, Java calls the threads run method. I hope you people are getting. When we start a new thread, Java calls the threads run method. So how to start a new thread? Thread dot start. To start a new thread, the code is thread dot start. So when this line executed, Java calls the threads run method. So don't get confused here. So start method is used to invoke the run method. Start method is used to make the run method to work. So only this sentence. When we start a new thread, Java calls the threads run method. So it is the run where all the action takes place. I hope you people are getting. It is not confusion. Start method will make the run method to work. Okay. Next. Okay. The line my thread